Mana Hotel, Seulee City. In Manamon, well select in Manamon say, select, Madame Bubbles. As I entered the restaurant, I saw the waitress who I had met here before. She was shaking and looked a little pale. What's up? I asked, unsure how to start this conversation. Finally, she said, her voice shaking. I could tell the rude manner of addressing me was not intended as such. That was obvious by her mannerisms. You said you saw an Eshkanite here? I asked, looking around the place. I saw Eshkan. She said. Hey, listen. I said, a bit worried by the way she was acting. What's going on? She started moving her weight from her left foot to her right foot, over and over again. He's not Eshkan. She blurted all of a sudden. He's not, what? I asked bewildered. He's not Eshkan, there is no Eshkan. She blurted again. That's not his real name, I said, standing there with my mouth open. There was only one customer in the restaurant, and he was gaping at her. I'll explain. The waitress said, her face contorting with the effort it took her to express these thoughts. I'm not originally from here. I'm from another country called Tangeria. My father is a stadium leader and a leader of the Church of Zonyas named Senarus. He was very, controlling, and when I reached the tricky age of 13, I had had enough. I decided that I wasn't going to put up with it, and I was going to take my own life. But then a Manamon tamer showed up in my hometown. He found me as I prepared to end my life. He stopped me. He saved my life. He went on to defeat my father's stadium. Later, he would go on to defeat a mythic Manamon known as Erodium and stop an evil schemer named Octoros from taking over the world. He's quite famous now. As if that wasn't enough fame, he became that country's Manamon master. He came back to me as I sat alone on Sandcot Beach, and he told me that I was free. You see, I'm very nearsighted, and my hearing could be a lot better than it is. My parents had used this as a way to keep me from going on my own Manamon journey, but this Manamon tamer, now the Manamon master, had enough influence that he was able to convince the appropriate authorities that these were not legitimate concerns. I didn't want to travel around Tangeria though. I wanted to travel around a new country, so I picked Kier. He was amazing. He saw me off on the ship leading to Kier. I had a lot of adventures. My Manamon journey started and ended several years ago. I didn't want to head home, so I decided to emigrate here, to Kier, and that's where we are. Not too long ago, I started hearing about this Eshkan fellow who said he could make it rain. I was amazed at these rumors. I thought they couldn't be true, but I recognized Eshkan. Eshkan is Senarus, my father. Oh sure, he's changed his look quite a bit, but I'd recognize his voice anywhere. JC? She asked with a quavering voice. He's looking for me. I'm so scared. I've not spoken to him in 3 years, JC, and I don't know what to do. But, why are you telling me this? I asked. Because you fought the Eshkanites. You fought Eshkan. She said hopefully. I've heard about you. A lot of people have heard of you, and you remind me of him, the Manamon master who changed my life. I looked at her, not sure what I should say or do. The door flew open, revealing two people I had not expected to see together. The first man was Eshkan, determined looking and a bit out of breath. Right behind him was Okama. I asked, "Stop that man." Eshkan said, gesturing wildly at Okama. Okama stood right behind Eshkan, calmly surveying the scene. Eshkan took notice of the young girl for the first time. "Rina, my baby girl," he said, a tear running down his cheek. "What is going on?" I asked, feeling that being kept in the dark was some kind of new norm for me. "This magician is a big joke, a scam artist," Okama said, glaring at Eshkan. "And?" I asked, annoyed with Okama for pointing out the obvious. "How does he do it then?" "It is simple," he replied. "The ring. I still don't know how I missed it before, but he is right. Eshkan is wearing it on his finger. The Amalus ruby is in his ring." "My ring?" Eshkan asked bewildered. "The ring," Okuma enunciated. The young girl named Rina, still quivering, sunk down into a chair. Eshkin held his right hand in front of his face, gazing fixedly at the ring he had worn since he was a little boy. His daddy's ring, his dad's only gift to him. Okuma stood in the doorway patiently. I looked from one face, to another, to another. The customer who had been eating before had disappeared sometime during the commotion. Give it to me. Okuma said, the ring. Eshkin mumbled, not so Nyas, it was just the ring, just the ring. Hand it over. Okuma said dangerously. He reached out a hand, but Eshkin didn't notice. Okuma gripped the ring between his middle finger and thumb, taking care not to brush Eshkin's skin. With one quick flick of the wrist, the ring came off of Eshkin's finger and fell into Okuma's palm. Okuma did not put it on his finger, but instead dropped it into his pocket. I'm invincible now, you know. He said. He grinned. The Amalus ruby was all I needed. When Byron saw that Eshkin had the ruby on the Solfo Peninsula, I looked back at footage of Eshkin's magic tricks, and sure enough, the Amalus ruby adorned his pointer finger. Byron? I asked. Byron's been working for me. Okuma said, I've been looking for the Amalus ruby for a long time now. Byron found it. He thought it was in the Konduan Art Museum. As if. He's a good kid though. He found it in the end. Those thieves I hired to break into the art museum were pathetic. They probably wouldn't have found the ruby even if it had been there. But you helped me defeat those thugs. I gasped. Not before I was sure they would find nothing there. Okuma grimaced. It also would cast doubt on them if they ever decided to, tell the authorities who put them up to the little heist. I didn't believe my senses, but it all made sense. Byron had acted strange at the Madame Boville's restaurant on Solfoa. Oh, and hadn't he been standing guard in front of the art museum right before the smoke bomb went off? I thought I was special. Eshkin mumbled, staring blankly at the place where the ring had been. I thought Zonyas had anointed me his earthly hero. Nobody cares about your story, you hypocritical nincompoop. Okuma grinned at his own wit. Eshkin stared at Rina, his eyes filled with tears. Rina shuffled her feet. Too much is going on, she whispered. Eshkin passed out. Foolish man. Okuma glowered. I don't need any of you anymore, he said, looking at me. You fought well during our past battles. Watching you is like watching a masterpiece come to life. I know you won't make this easy on me. You could join me, you know. I don't even know what you are doing, I exclaimed. I can't join something I don't even know about, but I know enough to be certain I want nothing to do with it. You are working with criminals, for the good of art. Okuma said. Sure, art. I glowered. Rina, you'll be fine, won't you? I asked. I don't know, she said shakily. I need to chase Okuma down. I said hurriedly. Go JC, I'll be fine, she said, looking at her father's unconscious form. I'll call the permed. ICS. Int mod save. Select Seulee City. Oh no, I just missed him. If only I had been a few seconds faster. I need to think of something to do. Doesn't he live in Konduan City? Maybe I can find some useful information at his house. Pocket Copter, Seulee City, Mekamo, Retent, Shadow, Solfo, Konduan City. Konduan City. HUD. Konduan City. Konduan Stadium, Konduan City. Okuma's house. In mod save. Select. Location, Okuma's house. All Manamon have been completely healed. The bucket of painting material seems to have not been put away after its last use. A nice soft sofa. Artists need their creature comforts, and this sofa certainly provides them. A nice soft sofa. The bucket. It's a book of poetry. Some of the poems are unfinished, and all of them are by Okuma. Infant Mont. It's electrical. There's a slot for some sort of peripheral device. The display is blank. There's a slot for some sort of peripheral device. The display is blank. There's the display. Conduan City. Okuma's house. There's the display. There's the display. There's the display. Conduan City. Everybody thought and no but rest. Manamon Marketplace. Conduan City. Everybody thought and no but rest in. Conduan Stadium. Conduan City. Conduan City, below. Art Museum. Thanks for helping get rid of, we'd like. Art Museum Act 2. Art Museum. Conduan City. Wadrest Valley. Conduan City. Conduan Stadium, Conduan City. Okuma's house. Wait, I see a device that looks like it will fit that strange machine, but it is too high up, even when standing on the bed. If only I had a rope. I'll have to find one. I think I heard something about a rope in Seulee City. I'll go back there. Pocket Copter, Seulee City. Seulee City. As a Manamon tamer, there are some places you just can't get to without certain items to help you out. I have one such item right here, a rope. If you can show me the Seulee Stadium key, I'll give it to you free of charge. Pocket copter. Where would you Seulee?